Daily Words of God. God is not just the God of His chosen people. You currently follow God, and He is your God. But is He the God of those who do not follow Him? Is God the God of all those people who do not follow Him? Is God the God of all things?
Yes.
Then are God's work and actions limited in scope merely to those who follow Him?
No.
What is the scope of His work and actions? At the smallest level, the scope of His work and actions encompasses all of mankind and all the things of creation. At the highest level, it encompasses the entire universe, which people cannot see. So we may say that God does His work and performs His actions among all mankind. And this suffices to allow people to come to know God Himself in His entirety. If you want to know God, to know Him truly, to understand Him truly, then do not restrict yourself merely to the 3 stages of God's work, or to stories of the work He performed in the past. If you try to know Him in that way, then you are placing limitations on God, confining Him. You are seeing God as something very small. How would doing so affect people? You would never be able to know God's wondrousness and supremacy, nor His power and omnipotence and the scope of His authority. Such an understanding would have an impact on your ability to accept the truth that God is the ruler of all things, as well as your knowledge of God's true identity and status. In other words, if your understanding of God is limited in scope, then what you can receive is also limited. This is why you must broaden your scope and expand your horizons. You should seek to understand all of it, the scope of God's work, His management, His rule, and all the things He manages and over which He rules. It is through these things that you should come to understand God's actions. With such an understanding, you will come to feel, without realizing it, that God rules, manages, and provides for all things among them. And you will also truly feel that you are a part and a member of all things. As God provides for all things, you are also accepting God's rule and provision. This is a fact that no one can deny. All things are subject to their own laws under God's rule. And under God's rule, all things have their own rules for survival. Mankind's fate and needs are also bound together with God's rule and provision. That is why, under God's dominion and rule, mankind and all things are interconnected, interdependent, and interwoven. This is the purpose and value of God's creation of all things.